Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Market Lamb Show. We would like to welcome our judge for this show, Matt Martin from Attica, Ohio. Mr. Martin has been judging for the past 27 years at county, state, and national levels. He helps his wife, Stephanie, and sons with their flocks of hams, Dorsets, and Boer goats. Give our judge a round of applause. Now entering the ring, Class 1, Lindsey Thompson, tag 114, Callie Schneider, tag 109, and Nathaniel Hackworth, tag 106. Judge, this is your class.
Thank you. Good morning. It's certainly great to be down here in Lawrence County this morning, and it is great to be back at a county fair and in normal circumstances. So I thank the good Lord for that opportunity. As we come out here this morning, we get started in a lightweight class and realize that we are maybe small in numbers, but we certainly have some good quality out here. When I run into some lambs like this in this particular weight division, I think that is certainly promising for what we're going to see here a little bit farther down the road or into the show. It's a really tough placing here for me between first and second. There's some give and take going on here. We're going to start with the young man's natural colored ewe up here to my right. I think this one is most ideal in terms of her finish and her condition today. And she's carrying the most muscle today in the class. She's the deepest through her loin. She's the widest in her rack. She's the best out through that width of that loin, and then carries down the best down into that leg and down into that twist in comparison to our second place lamb. Our second place lamb, I think, is probably the most unique in terms of his body type. I really like this guy. I think this guy probably could use just a little bit more time on feed to get a little bit more condition on him. He's not quite as deep and full through that loin. He doesn't carry down quite as well through the lower portion of the leg. However, he is better over the top of his hip. I think he's a little more pulled apart in terms of his rib shape and a little more athletic in terms of his design. But today, I think we have to look at this as these lambs are going to, we have to look at them as they're going to market today. The lamb that beats you in this class is a little more market ready today. But a lamb right here in second that I think had a few more days on feed. This guy's got a tremendous amount of potential. He's very immature in design, but he is very unique, very neat in terms of his skeletal build. The young lady's lamb coming here in third. Another lamb that's very good. It's got a lot of muscle shape and design. It's got a lot of dimension and definition of muscle. Just needs a little more condition on it today to compete with the two that are ahead of it, but a very nice class of lambs. Thank you.
Results from Class 1. In third place, Lindsey Thompson. In second place, Callie Schneider. And in first place, Nathaniel Hackworth. Now entering the ring, Class 2, Tanner Thompson, tag 115, Allison Rogers, tag 105, and Lexi Wheeler-Newman, tag 86. Reminder that all first and second place winners need to be on standby at their pins. Judge, this is your class. Class 3 to the holding area, Class 3. We would like to take this time to thank our sponsors for this show, David and Kay Payne and family, Wade's Work and Western Wear, Russell Farms with Zach and Elizabeth Russell, Uriah Cade with Seven Springs Farms, Scotttown Farmers and Farmerettes, Sarah Caden family, and the Lawrence County Farm Bureau. Please give our sponsors a round of applause.
Once again, a relatively small class in terms of numbers, but I think we've got some good quality in here, and once again, we have some differences. There's a lot of give and take that has to go on. Unfortunately, the black lamb that we're going to start with just really didn't want to give me much of a look over here on the side. When he relaxes, he comes together much better. When he's fighting a young lady, he kind of wants to be a little piecier than what I like, but he's one of the fresher lambs we've handled so far today, one that certainly has some muscle shape and dimension down his top. I like him in terms of his length of his body. I think he's a little rounder in his rib, a little shallower in his chest floor, and still carries that back with some depth to that twist and that lower leg. A lamb that I think is pretty nice and pretty athletic in terms of his type. The young man's ewe lamb here in second, one that I think is very complete. She's just a little plainer when we get back and we view her from the side. She wants to start getting a little deep and a little bit flatter in terms of that rib, but the young man's done a really nice job of getting her fed and conditioned. She handles extremely good. My close placing was between 1 and 2. I think it's a really kind of a give and take there. We got a lamb that starts the class that's maybe a little heavier in terms of his structure. Maybe isn't quite as smooth right down that top line at times, some of it because she's fighting. But then this one here is pretty smooth, really nicely finished, but gets a little more refined in terms of his structure. Very nice pair here in 1 and 2. Our third place lamb, one that I think if we can make this guy touch just a little bit better today, and when I say that, I'm talking he's starting to get a little bit of extra condition on there. In comparison to our first and second place lamb, his muscle tone is not quite as good and firm as what we have. The young lady's done a great job as far as feeding him and getting him presented. A lamb that just doesn't have quite the handle today is what we see in our first and second place lambs. But a very nice class of lambs. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Results from Class 2. In third place, Lexi Wheeler-Newman. In second place, Tanner Thompson. And in first place, Allison Rogers. Now entering the ring, Class 3, Jacob Cade, tag 112, Nathan Hackworth, tag 107, Lily Schneider, tag 111, and Meredith Rogers, tag 103. Judge, this is your class. Class 4, please report to the holding area. Class 4. We would like to re-welcome our judge this evening, Mr. Matt Martin from Attica, Ohio. He's been judging for the past 27 years at county, state, and national level. He helps his Stephanie and sons with their flocks of Hamps, Dorsets, and Boer goats. Let's re-welcome our judge and give him a round of applause. All lamb exhibitors need to be on standby for final drive.
A really nice lamb to start this class with. To me, kind of distances himself from the rest of the lambs. Once I get my hands on him, the young lady gets him propped up from that side view. He's by far the neatest up to that front end, but he still carries back with a lot of dimension and muscle and power. I guess if anything, maybe I'd like to see him just ever so slightly different off those back legs when he wants to get out and we put him in motion. He wants to maybe get just a little bit higher up or maybe not quite as smooth over top of that jump muscle, but at the same point in time, muscle's not flat. So I'm going to give him the advantage here. He just simply has more power, more look, more athleticism than anything else in the class. A really attractive made kind of a lamb coming here in second. A lamb that when we get our hands on him just doesn't have quite the width and dimension and expression as what we see in our class winner, but one that I certainly appreciate in terms of his overall size, his grow, his length of body. The young man's done a nice job getting him presented and conditioned out here. I'd just like to see him with just a little bit more terminal shape to compete a little harder with our class winner today. We want to talk about one that has just a bunch of muscle in it, is here in third. This one here just gives up some look when we get to the side, wants to start to get a little deeper and more mature in terms of its overall appearance. Doesn't have the athletic look that we see in our first and second place lamb, but one that's got a tremendous amount of product. I think he's starting to lay a little bit more condition up over those ribs than we have in our first and second place lambs, but one that I think is still very, very acceptable. I think we've got three really, really high quality lambs in this class, and the young man here in fourth brings us another really good one. You want to talk about one that's going to hang a really nice kind of a carcass? This one is. Maybe when we look at her structurally, she's maybe not quite as eye appealing, but one that you certainly have to appreciate. She's still long bodied. She's smooth enough fronted. She just doesn't have quite of that it factor that what our lamb that we start the class does. But a really, really nice set of lambs out here. Let's give these kids a big round of applause.
Results from Class 3. In fourth place, Nathaniel Hackworth. In third place, Meredith Rogers. In second place, Jacob Cade. And in first place, Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring, Class 4, Jacob Cade, tag 113, Lexi Wheeler-Newman, tag 85, and Lily Schneider, tag 110. Judge, this is your class. All first and second place class winners for lambs, please report to the holding area at this time. Third place, be on standby.
Once again, a really nice class of lambs. We've got three really high quality individuals out here, and we needed to sort them out. To me, we've got one that kind of excels the class in terms of just his build and his structure. He's balanced from front to rear and certainly has a tremendous amount of shape and muscling. The young lady's lamb we're going to start with, he's just extremely opened up. He's really big in terms of that rack. He's really, really super big and square over the top of that hip, carries down very nicely into that leg. One that certainly has a tremendous amount of shape and power. I think I probably like him the best of the three when we get him out and we put him in motion in terms of how he maintains that chest floor. He wants to keep that head elevated and gets out and moves probably the best of anything. I guess if I'm going to fault him, maybe I'd like to see him be just a little better right over the top of that loin. He wants to kind of pop that loin up on me at times when we see him on a side view, but this guy's pretty nice kind of a lamb. Really nice lamb to follow here in second. I think very similar in terms of build. If we can get around just a few little structured issues in that front end, he wants to get a little bit flatter. I'd like to maybe just open that up just a bit and allow him to be a little shallower through that chest floor. But you've done an outstanding job as far as getting him conditioned and fed. I really like this guy, and you've done a great job presenting him to me today, so I certainly appreciate that. And certainly taking nothing away from the young lady's lamb standing here in third, because I tell you what, this is an awful nice lamb at a county fair any day, young lady. You've done a great job of getting him fed and finished. He's relatively straight in his lines. Doesn't have quite the freshness of handle today as what we see in the other lambs. And once again, gets kind of deeper in terms of that front end, gets a little heavier in terms of that brisket today in comparison to the two lambs that we have standing above him. But a trio of really nice lambs in this particular class. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Results from Class 4: in third place, Lexi Wheeler Newman; in second place, Jacob Cade; and in first place, Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring for final drive from Class 1, Nathaniel Hackworth, tag 106. From Class 2, Allison Rogers, tag 105. From Class 3, Lily Schneider, tag 111. And from Class 4, Lily Schneider, tag 110. Judge, this is your class. Now entering the ring, the second places from Class 1, Callie Schneider, tag 109. From Class 2, Tanner Thompson, tag 115. From Class 3, Jacob Cade, tag 112. And from Class 4, Jacob Cade, tag 113. Lindsey Thompson, tag 114, to the holding area.
I tell you what, it's great to be back at a county fair and in normal circumstances and be able to enjoy interacting with these kids and getting to evaluate some lambs. And I guess normally this is kind of the finale of the day is your final drive, but we've got a breeding show and some showmanship to do yet today. So I encourage the kids to continue to show the whole time, but. You know, I always kind of give a little spiel before we do the champion lamb deal, and And the first and foremost thing I need to thank is my Heavenly Father, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, I don't have any of these opportunities. And I know that maybe in a day of political correctness, maybe some would say, well, you know, keep your opinions to yourself. Well, I tell you what, without him, I'm nothing. So I thank him for that. I certainly appreciate the opportunity, you guys having the confidence in me to come out and evaluate these kids. It means the world to me. I got 3 boys of my own. They grow up way, way, way too fast, so folks enjoy it. My oldest got married this summer, and it's a lot different when you go from having 3 kids in the house to 2 kids in the house. I looked at my wife the other day and said, boy, we're not going to make very good empty nesters, are we? It's kind of difficult. But yet you feel that kind of sense of accomplishment as you see your kids come out here and grow and mature. I think this is one of those situations, 4-H, FFA, where we've got a really, really great program here for these young people. We can build leaders. We can build responsible young adults that have to put something ahead of themselves every single day when they come out and they do their chores in the morning. When they wake up, they know that there is another being that's relying on them for their well-being, and I think that is outstanding. And we've got some really, really good young people out here in this ring. With that said, we didn't have a huge show, guys, but I'm really happy with the quality. If you told me I was going to have 13 lambs, I was going to have 8 in the final drive, and I was going to have 8 that looked this nice, you guys have done a great job. Because we've got lambs all the way down in even our second lightweight lamb that if I had to, I would say this sheep's good enough to represent a champion of some sort. So with that being said, we talked about these lambs in class. I've got several that I like out here, and obviously we need to be aware of where we're at in terms of weight-wise, where we're at in terms of ideal market weights. So normally I like to be up here in some of these bigger classes if the quality's there, and I think the quality is certainly there. From there, we've got to make a few decisions. There's a little bit of give and take going on. We got one that's extremely fresh in the handle, super good up to that front, maybe gives up a little bit when we step in behind. And we got another one that's a little more rugged, maybe pulled apart just a little bit more, shows me a little more terminal shape down that top. But when I get out and study them, I really like this guy. And we're gonna go out and select your champion, and then we're gonna wait, and you guys will move everybody in because we're gonna do a true top 10 here, correct? So kids, make sure that you're ready. We're gonna make sure everybody gets a good, fair look out here. Once again, I know that this is normally my finale, but I thank you guys for the opportunity, and I just pray blessings on each and every one of you throughout the season, upcoming school year as you go about your business. So thank you guys for having me. I look forward to working with these young people the rest of the day.
Your overall grand champion market lamb is Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring from Class 4, Lexi Wheeler-Newman. Your overall reserve champion market lamb, Miss Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring from Class 3, Meredith Rogers. Your overall third place market lamb, Jacob Cade. Now entering the ring from Class 3, Nathaniel Hackworth. Overall fourth place market lamb, Meredith Rogers. Overall fifth place market lamb, Jacob Cade. Overall sixth place market lamb, Lexi Wheeler Newman. Overall seventh place, Nathaniel Hackworth. Now entering the ring from Class 1, Lindsey Thompson. Overall eighth place market lamb, Callie Schneider. Overall ninth place market lamb, Allison Rogers. Now entering the ring from Class 2, Lexi Wheeler Newman. Tenth place overall market lamb, Tanner Thompson. This will conclude the market lamb show, and we will move on to breeding lambs. We need breeding lambs to the holding area, Class 1, Meredith Rogers, Xander Pancake, Isabel Pancake, and Colt Pancake. Now entering the ring from Class 1, Meredith Rogers, Xander Pancake, Isabel Pancake, and Colt Pancake. Judge, this is your class.
Really nice ewe lamb to start this class out here in this first breeding ewe class. This one here is just really robust in her ribs. She's got a lot of shape and dimension of muscle and still maintains a feminine look from the side. She's smooth and elegant through that front end, but yet she carries a tremendous amount of width and dimension, tremendous amount of muscling back there, back into that leg, and still has some body and some flank. I really like this one quite a bit. She could have handled an awful lot of competition. The young man's lamb coming next, a lamb that's just obviously a little bit younger, a little bit lighter in terms of pounds today. I'd like to see these, actually these next three maybe after they've been on feed just a little bit longer and a little bit fleshier. I think there's a little more muscle shape there than maybe what we're seeing today in terms just from their immaturity standpoint. But lambs that structure-wise, this little gal's pretty straight and level in her lines. She's feminine through that front end. I'd like to maybe give her a little bit more dimension, a little bit more stoutness. That maybe would help that growth curve just speed up just a little bit. The lamb here in third, I think, follows our second place lamb pretty close. Has just a little bit more brisket than what we have in our second place lamb. But another lamb that, once again, a few miles down the road here, I think is going to continue to look better and better as she matures and starts to fill out just a little bit more. An extremely youthful, kind of a Shropshire appearing ewe lamb here in fourth. When the young lady gets her propped up, she's got some nice muscle shape to her. I just like to make her a little bit leveler out about that hip, maybe a little longer in terms of balancing with the two ewe lambs that are in the second and third hole. But a very nice class of breeding ewe lambs. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Results from Class 1. In fourth place, Isabel Pancake. In third place, Xander Pancake. In second place, Colt Pancake. And in first place, Meredith Rogers. Now entering the ring from Class 2, Xander Pancake, Isabel Pancake, and Colt Pancake. And Allison Rogers. Judge, this is your class.
Got a nice class of ewes out here. Certainly some differences in terms of type and kind and condition and finish. We're going to start with a big old stout ewe, big ribbed, and certainly pretty muscular in her kind. One that I guess if I'm going to fault her, my main fault on her today is she's just got too much condition on her. I would be a little bit concerned as far as turning her into the breeding pen because she's got plenty of cover on her right now. But a ewe that you certainly have to appreciate her for her width and her dimension. One that certainly balances out pretty well from the side. A really nice ewe, and I think she wins this class fairly easily. I would like to see her trim down just a little bit. The ewe here in second, this gal, she's on the other end of the spectrum, but for good reason. She brought we brought the lamb right out with her. She's obviously nursing still. She's certainly not going to be in as good a flesh, but I think when we study this one, I think we have to like some things about her. She's elevated through the front end. She's pretty level and balanced down that top. She wants to act up just a little bit right now, but that's certainly understandable. I like her the next best in terms of her balance, her eye appeal, and her profile. Her, on the other hand, I'd maybe like to open up just a little bit, give her a little more capacity. I think that would help maintain some of that weight and that muscling throughout the nursing period. As we move down into third and fourth, two ewes that are similar in terms of their build. We're going to go with the ewe here in third. It's just a little bit sounder today. Ewe that I think is just a little bit bigger in terms of her skeleton. One that I think is a little longer down that top, but one that certainly I see a few more pounds on her. I think she'd change up just a little bit. Both of them being a little unruly today for the young men. The ewe here in fourth, this one here is just a little lame off that left front for me today. Maybe I'd like to see her moving out a little different. Maybe we could have switched up a place. This is one of the thicker of our second to fourth place ewes. This one's got the most natural thickness and muscling. I just like to stretch her out in terms of her skeleton. But a nice class of breeding ewes. Let's give these kids a round of applause.
Results from Class 2. In 4th place, Colt Pancake. In 3rd place, Xander Pancake. In 2nd place, Isabel Pancake. And in 1st place, Allison Rogers. Now entering the ring, Class 3, Xander Pancake, Isabel Pancake, and Colt Pancake. Judge, this is your class.
Have you seen, I was talking to a couple of the young people over there. There was no structural issues or anything like that with the lambs. We were talking a little bit how you can age a sheep with their mouth and their teeth, and we were just talking about soundness on their mouths. And that's something that's very important when we talk about on these breeding sheep. And certainly had that today, but the young lady and I were discussing as they get older, these ewes will drop those baby teeth out and replace them with permanent adult teeth. And then you can kind of age them that way. So just kind of a little bit of an opportunity to converse with the young people. The young lady brought us a really nice ewe out here. She's an aged ewe. You can certainly tell that, not only just in terms of her body, but then again once you mouth her. But this gal she's pretty level and straight. I certainly appreciate that. A ewe that's probably about a number 2 body score right now. Maybe like to see her just bumped up maybe to a 3 before you turn into breed, but one that certainly is not going to have any problem staying bred once you service her with the buck. She's a really nice kind of a ewe, and I certainly appreciate that. The young lady's done a very nice job for us all day, so let's give her a round of applause.
Results from Class 3. In 1st place, Isabel Pancake. Now entering the ring, all 1st place winners. From Class 1, Meredith Rogers. From Class 2, Allison Rogers. And from Class 3, Isabel Pancake. 2nd place breeding lamb winners, please be in the holding area. We would like to recognize our sponsors for today's show: David and Kay Payne and Family, Wade's Work and Western Wear, Russell Farms with Zach and Elizabeth Russell, Uriah Cade with Seven Springs Farms, Scotttown Farmers and Farmerettes, Sarah Caden Family, and Lawrence County Farm Bureau. Please give our sponsors a round of applause.
Really nice set of breeding ewes out here. If we've got 3 different ages represented, we got your ewe lamb, your yearling, and your aged ewes. We've got some differences, but yet some similarities. But to me, we got one that just kind of excels the rest in terms of body shape and quality, athleticism, and still maintains a feminine look from the side, but still has a lot of terminal shape when you're going to go back and you're going to make the market projects that were in here a little bit earlier. I think when we look at it from that perspective, I think we've got one that's got a tremendous amount of function. We're going to end up following up with another one that I think is going to be very similar, maybe isn't quite as neat in terms of her balance and muscle shape, mostly due to some conditioning. But we'll work through these ewes here. Let's give these kids a big round of applause. We'll go select your champion, reserve, and third. Okay, so we'll make sure we wait and let everybody get in here. So. Thank you, guys. We'll go check select your champion breeding ewe.
Your overall grand champion breeding lamb, Meredith Rogers. Now entering the ring from Class 1, Colt Pancake. Overall reserve champion breeding lamb, Allison Rogers. Overall third place breeding lamb, Isabel Pancake. This concludes our breeding lamb show, and we will now move on to showmanship. Lamb Showmanship Class 1, please report to the holding area. Lamb Showmanship Class 1. Now entering the ring, Senior Showmanship Class 1, Isabel Pancake, Jacob Cade, Allison Rogers, Lily Schneider, and Lindsay Thompson. Judge, this is your class. We would like to thank our judge for coming this morning. Matt Martin from Attica, Ohio has been judging for the past 27 years at county, state, and national levels. He helps his wife Stephanie and sons with their flocks of Hamps, Dorsets, and Boer goats. Let's give our judge a round of applause.
Let's give these exhibitors a big round of applause. I'm going to talk about them here for a minute, and then we'll do our placings. I think we've got a really nice group out here, and they've worked really hard all day. And I think that's the important part is continuing to be steady. Sometimes we got to understand that some things aren't always a sprint; they're a marathon. So when we start early in the day and we continue to work hard throughout the course of the day, I think that is the most important to me. So I'm going to make a few comments. I'm going to place my top three, and then I'm going to make a few more general comments, because to me, showmanship is one of the most important classes of the day, because it doesn't have that much bearing on the animal that you have. Yes, if you have an animal that is impeccable in terms of structure and very well behaved, a lot of judges will give you an extra nod. But to me, it's about trying to find the one that can work through those situations. And a lot of times, guys, there is a direct correlation between good showmen and good lambs. But sometimes there's those kids that maybe haven't had the same financial opportunity, or maybe they're showing everything that they've raised, that sometimes have a lot of ability, but maybe don't have the same ability to go out and find those projects. So I think it's very important as a judge. I want to make sure that I sort through that. I've got three out here that kind of come to the top. I got one that kind of separated from the rest of them, I think, as we start to study them. My second and third is relatively close. So we're going to go out and we're going to place them, and then we'll make a few more general comments. But I wanted to just make that kind of overall general comment. That's the way I look at showmanship. It's on you. So I thank you guys for working hard today. So they told me we needed 3. There's your 3. The young lady's going to start this class. I think she's done an outstanding job all day. Now, you've had some pretty good quality animals to work with, but you work really well around the front of this lamb, and I think that's extremely important. I appreciate the fact that you keep them set up, you keep that head elevated, and you work really hard at it. When you brought this guy back out for showmanship, I thought you should have brought the other one because he actually showed a little better for you. You did a by far better job here in this class of getting him to work with you, and I'm sure that the nerves have settled down, okay? But you did an outstanding job for me all day. I appreciate the intensity. I appreciate the work ethic and the fact that you're smooth as far as moving around the front of that head. You keep that lamb in position, and you don't make him overexert himself, and you try to get the most out of those lambs. The young lady here in second, I think you did an outstanding job all day, and like I said, sometimes you have a little bit more of a challenge. Maybe when you're showing those that you raised, the ones that are a little younger, maybe aren't quite as I'm going to say upper end in terms of individual class quality. But I tell you what, I like how you move around the front of that lamb. You know where you're supposed to be. You show me the front of that sheep. You get that lamb set up square, and you did a nice job when I switched you onto these other sheep over here, and I certainly appreciate that. I think it was extremely close between you and the young man. I'm going to tell you the difference is she's a little smoother around the front end, and she's a little more aggressive as far as getting it done, okay? Now, I understand I got 3 boys, so there's days where it's like, guys, come on now, are we into it? And it's like, it's different. Sometimes it's easier, especially showing a small lamb. I didn't do you any favors when I switched you onto that one, but I like the way you adjusted. But I think a really close pair here. I like the way she moves around the front of that head a little better, and she's a little more intense. That's the difference. You are as smooth as anybody I've had out here today and calm, and I certainly appreciate that. You're going to be able to do some things with some sheep that some aren't. But at the same point in time, that's directly relating to your lamb right now because he's darn near asleep out here on you. So I appreciate that calmness. You get one that's high-strung, you're going to be a perfect candidate to handle that. But sometimes when we get into the market lamb arena, especially, we need to bring a little bit more intensity. But I do appreciate your thoroughness and your attitude. You've been a pleasure all day. Congratulations to you. The 2 young ladies that we have out here both have done a nice job. The young lady here with the black lamb, this guy has just been, he's just been an absolute treat all day. He has not wanted to cooperate with her one single time. And she realizes that, and the best he'll do is when you just kind of relax on him. And unfortunately, that makes it hard to be as competitive as you want to be in a market lamb show. I get that. Trust me, I've had those lambs where I've worked with all summer, thought I had them dialed in, and I hit in, they step onto that sawdust, and they take on a different personality. And it's, I think it's called stupid. Super stupid, maybe, I don't know. But they're just not cooperative. And it's very frustrating because you can tell you've worked with that lamb. He's presented beautifully. You come out with a very good ring presence, and I certainly appreciate that. Unfortunately, just not his day today. But I wanted to commend you for doing that and working hard. The young lady here with this lamb, she worked hard for me all day too. One thing that I will comment, maybe try to keep that free hand off that lamb a little bit. I think sometimes you kind of throw it over him for some security at times. If they get loose, they get loose. Anybody that's shown long enough, if they've shown enough sheep, they've probably lost one in their career, if not a couple. It's okay, all right? And that's part of it. Part of it is learning to trust yourself. Hey, and if we fail, we'll get back up again and we'll go at it again. But I appreciate your attitude, great eye contact, and great ring presence. Like I said, try to maybe keep that free hand off, and in doing so, you can maybe find another place to put it. As I put the mic down here, I'm going to try to give you an option for that lamb, but you did a really good job, so congratulations as well.
The results from senior sheep showmanship are 3rd place, Jacob Cade, 2nd place, Isabel Pancake, and your overall senior land showman is Lily Schneider. Now entering the ring, junior class 1, Colt Pancake, Nathaniel Hackworth, Tanner Thompson and Xander Pancake. Judge, this is your class. Junior class 2 to the holding area.
Really nice class of showmanship out here. I took a little more time with these guys because to me this is a time where it is about teaching. And sometimes it's a different perspective than mom and dad's. I know that sometimes the best way to get through to my boys is to have somebody else talk to them. So it certainly is one of those situations where if I have an opportunity to work with these young people, I want to do just that. We've got some differences in terms of type and style and kind out here, but to me, especially at this particular age, there's two things that I'm really focused on. Number one is how they lead once they come into the ring. Where is that animal at in terms of the relation of the kid's body? I want to make sure that they're back there at that shoulder where that animal has his head but doesn't have too much control of that head. You want to stop a hog, you want to stop a fat steer, you get in front of it. The same thing's going to happen if we get too far out in front of that lamb or we keep that lamb's head covered up. So guys, the two young men that are up here in first or second did a really nice job out on the lead. They move these lambs extremely well. And I think when we get them set up, they do the nicest job as far as keeping control of that animal without completely smothering that head. Now, we work down this particular class and we talk to them all. Like I said, I think there's a tremendous amount of promise here. These young men are willing to work hard and they're very receptive, and I certainly appreciate that. There's some minor differences, but I think when we come right down to it, the young man that starts this class does a really good job, and he's worked really hard for me all day. I did talk to him a little bit at times. It feels like you get to a point and you get so relaxed, maybe you zone out on me just a little bit. Make sure you keep that intensity all the way through, but you do a very good job of keeping your lamb in position. And we talked about a few things that we can work on and we can change. The young man here in second, I really like your eye contact. I really like your presence when we get out and we put you in motion. We got a few things to work on once we get that lamb stopped and set. But as far as keeping that head up, you do a nice job there. I certainly appreciate that, and I do like your intensity. I think you bring probably the most intensity to this particular class. Make sure that you know where I'm at, but don't focus so much on me that you don't take care of what you got to do with that lamb. But you did a very nice job. The young man here in third, at times, man, this lamb looked like $1 million, and at other times he looked like he wasn't sure what he was trying to do. And some of that just comes with inexperience and nerves and the fact that a lot of you guys, it's maybe the first and only time you get out all summer. So I get that. And to me, it's as a judge's responsibility to make sure that we consider those things when we're out here evaluating these classes. You did a very nice job as far as once this lamb was set up, that lamb was usually set square for me. The big difference between you and the two young men ahead of you is many times you were kind of out of position. The young man that wins the class is the only one that showed me the front end on a consistent basis. I just know where I'm at in relation to the lamb. A couple times you were on the wrong side, but that's beginner stuff. And as you continue to work and get more comfortable, you're going to do a nice job because you certainly brought a nice project out here today. Congratulations, young man. The young man down here in fourth, once again, worked extremely hard for me today. We talked a little bit about hand positioning and posture. This lamb's getting a little unruly on him, but then again, work ethic. If you're willing to put forth the work, you're going to see some results. And it may not be the first time, it may not be the second time, but if you stick with it, young man, I guarantee you that you're going to get better and better. You certainly have that fire, and I can see that desire to do that. So congratulations to these four. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Results from Sheep Junior Showmanship Class 1. In third place, Tanner Thompson. In second place, Colt Pancake. And in first place, Nathaniel Hackworth. Now entering the ring from Junior Sheep Showmanship Class 2, Lexi Wheeler-Newman, Meredith Rogers, and Callie Schneider. Any exhibitor with multiple projects needs to fill out a drop slip in the announcer's stand. We would like to invite all alumni and any adults that want to compete in the Old Timer Showmanship. Please come on Thursday.
Once again, a really nice class of showmen out here. And I apologize for taking a little bit more time, but to me, especially when you get a small show like this, these kids have worked all summer. And I could evaluate them real quick. We could have been probably done an hour ago, but that's not fair to these kids. I want to try to share a little bit of information with them, what they choose to do with it, if that's what they choose to implement or not, but I want to at least give them a different idea, maybe a little different perspective on things so they can take it home and maybe work with it or not. But the young lady that starts, she's done a very nice job for me all day. She's worked really hard. I appreciate her ring presence when she comes in. She does a nice job there. She keeps that lamb in position, does a nice job getting this guy braced. As far as when we talked a little bit there about showing the front of the lamb, she's the only one that attempted that. We did work a little bit as far as showing maybe a different way to do that, and hopefully that will help. But you did a very nice job. The young lady here in second, we talked just a little bit, is just showing me a little bit more confidence when you come in, because you do a very good job, just like the young lady that starts this class, as far as keeping your lamb in position, getting him set up for me. I just want to see a little bit of that confidence when you're moving that lamb about the ring. A little bit of eye contact. Don't stare me down, but let me know that, hey, Judge, I'm serious when I'm out here, okay? And like I said, that'll go a long way in the future, too, as well. When you're interacting, maybe when you're going for a job interview or you're looking to get a scholarship or something, when you're interviewing or you're talking to adults, when you make that eye contact, I think it's something that is kind of a lost art anymore, that a lot of kids have a hard time conversing. So make sure you keep that eye contact. That's great, okay? Young lady here in third, it's just been a rough day. This little lamb has just been, he's been trouble from the time he walked in the first time. But, you know, you've kept a good attitude and positive about it, and I certainly commend you for that, because, honestly, it's starting to get a little warmer. You're getting tired. He's getting tired. It's easy to start to let those frustrations boil up and show, and you haven't done that. So congratulations. You did a very nice job as well.
The results for Junior Sheep Showmanship Class 2. In third place, Callie Schneider. In second place, Lexi Wheeler-Newman. And in first place, Meredith Rogers. At this time, I would like all first place junior class winners to report back to the ring. Now entering the ring from Junior Class 1, Nathaniel Hackworth, and from Junior Class 2, Meredith Rogers.
Did we have 3? In the seniors we did. In juniors we just...
Let's give these individuals a big round of applause. I think you guys have probably had more ring time today than anybody. I mean, you've been out here, I think, all day. I think I had him in the first class. So, hey, I commend you guys for continuing to have a great attitude, and these guys have been a lot of fun to work with. We talked a little bit, and we come up with some things that I hope will help them in the future. A lot of this stuff has to be done at home. I can't, we're not going to make all these adjustments in the show ring, but I am proud of you. Both of you have made some adjustments and have done some things differently. And I think when it comes on right down to it, we've got two that have done a very nice job all day long. But when I come out here and I do this final sort, there's a few things that I seen that I'm really impressed with, and that's what's the young man is done a nice job as far as staying relaxed and calm for me all day. A few little technical things I'd like to make sure you maintain that focus all the way through, okay? You do an outstanding job. But the young lady, I think when we get out here and we really get to sorting, I give you a few pointers in class, and you've already implemented many of them, okay? I appreciate that. You stayed right with it. I think you had a little better control of the natural colored lamb when I switched you than maybe the young man did. And I appreciate you guys being brave. It's a big risk at this age to take a sheep that you haven't shown, okay? I certainly appreciate that. But I think the thing that really made my decision simple, and that was one thing that you did, and I hadn't talked about it, I hadn't seen it all day, and you switched around the backside of that lamb when we just moved over here. If you do that, you run the risk of losing that lamb. So always switch around the front. It's not an issue to cross in front of the judge. I understand what you're trying to do, but make sure that you go around the front of the lamb so you maintain control. But once again, a very, very tight placing. The young lady will be first. The young man will be second. Congratulations, guys.
Your 2021 Junior Sheep Showmanship Grand Champion is Meredith Rogers, and your reserve champion is Nathaniel Hackworth. Everyone can now take pictures in the ring.